Today, we're going to see how to set up and use online classes. And we're going to be able to do a quick introduction. We're going to do a setup. We're going to view in the stream, people and grades, classwork, assessment, attendance, and field resources. So what is Google Classroom? Well, Google Classroom is a free web service by Google that aims to simplify, create, distribute, and grade assignments. The purpose is basically to make easy for the teacher and the students to be able to share files. And some of the advantages is that you can use and access Google Classrooms from all devices. It's an effective way to communicate and share. It speed up the assignment process. It's clean and user-friendly, and it's also for everyone. So those are, some of the things that you can see as a benefit of using this tool. How to set it up? Well, it's kind of easy. You have to first create your class. So the way that you create your class is that you need to type a class name, and you have to have a subject. And let me show you why I put in here a comment that you might need more than one. So I'm going to go to the online classroom. And you can see that I have a few in here. I have, to be honest, I haven't been able to do one for adventures because I normally work with Pathfinders and Master Guides. I do a little bit of teaching with adventures here and there, but not a lot. So last year, my wife and I, we basically work with explorers in our church. The director from Pathfinders asked us, hey, can you do the Explorer class? And I say, yeah, let's do it. So I created this classroom for that one. But before that, I was teaching, camping skills 3 and 4 and some other honors. And they asked me also to create one for the urban camp, which we end up not using after all. So the way that you create a classroom is that you need to go to classroom.google.com. The first time that you go online, they're going to ask you if you want to create a class. And of course, you can do so in that time. But if you already have a Google Classroom or you already are a member of one, all you have to do is in the top right corner, click on the plus sign where it says create or join a class. So in here, you have two options, to join a class or create one. So we're going to click on the create a class. You click in there after you read everything that Google has to offer, you acknowledge that and say, yeah, I understand the concern. So I'm going to type, maybe use a sample, adventurers class. And I'm going to type a subject. I'm just going to do a sample because I'm going to have to remove this one later on. And I click on create. So this way you're creating the Google Classroom. You might have to create one for each class. If you are the club director and you want to manage all of them, you can create one for each of the classes. And there you have it. So this is my sample classroom. I don't have nothing other than use the shell. You can select a theme. So by clicking in here, you select, a nice picture. I know that sometimes, from stock, from what Google have, they don't have a lot of information in here. And there you go. So you have some images, that you can select, but nothing really looks like adventure type of theme. So what I'm going to do is that after I upload this one, it goes, no, it doesn't look like right. I don't like it. I'm just going to upload a photo. And you can select from here, from your photos, from your computer, a photo, something that maybe looks like kids playing there, so everybody will know, hey, this is for adventures. I'm going to select one. So I'm just going to select one, from kids. And I'm just going to select, part of the image. So this one looks more like appealing. Oh, yeah, and of course, you can download photos from there. So it looks a little bit better. So now I have my class ready to go. So that's step number 1, create your class. Step number 2 is that you have to change the theme, which I just show you how to do it. Step number 3 is to add students. So there are 2 ways to add students. You can add them by send them an email with the link, or you can just basically provide, you already have the emails from the parents or the the kids, you can just add it that way. So I'm gonna go back to my sample class, and I'm gonna go to people, and here you can add students. So I'm gonna add my wife, email Sonia Lopez. I'm gonna add her as a teacher. I want to help me. And I'm also going to add, you know, another Sonia email account as the student. And you can add it that way. You have the email, you can just invite him. You as the teacher or the creator of the Google Classroom will receive these notifications via your email, and then you can approve or deny or ignore. You can do that. Or if I go back to my class, the one that I just created, Sample Adventures class, this code right here, if you click in here, it will expand. This is the code that you're going to have to provide them if they already have Google Classroom. Some of the schools, you know, they already have it, they're using it. So all you have to do is basically send them this code. So if I was a student that already have, you know, one, and I have, you know, I'm a member of my school, all I have to do is click on the plus sign and select join. By clicking join, I just type the code that my adventure teacher gave me, and clicking and join, I can join that existing class. So that way you're gonna have it in here. You can have one from the school, for adventures, pathfinders, all the different ministries. So that's what I say from the beginning. It might be necessary to have different classrooms to have more control. I recommend it by class because you will be overwhelmed by the type of communication and information that goes back and forth. So that's what I recommend. So let's go back to here. So now I add students and teachers. Now I have to keep it organized. One way to keep it organized is by topic. And let me show you what I'm talking about topic. So I'm going back to my sample, and you can see that I have a few in here. I'm going to share my experience with the Pathfinders and Explorers. I know that they have different topics in here. So if I go to my classroom, I have the topics that I created. I know that we have 9. We have personal growth, spiritual discovery, serving others, making friends. So these are the topics. And when I click on one, you can see that I have my text, my communications, information that I send them, everything in there, all together. So that's what I meant by topic. And also, what do you want to share in the stream is really important. If I go back to all my topics and I go to stream and I scroll down, you can see the emails and communications that I have sent to my class. Since we started the class online this year, it was March, April, and May, 2 months. And in 2 months, I already have a lot of information going back and forth between my students and me and myself and Sonia, the teacher. So if you don't want to see a lot, you can just go to the setting wheel on the top right corner. And when you scroll down, you'll see the stream section. And here you can select if you want the students to post and comment, or if you want the students that only comment, or teachers can post and comment. This is really important because if you allow the students to post and comment, you need to be aware that some of the students, they like to put stuff in there that is not really class related or is not serious stuff. They will put something like a post like, hello, how you doing? Things like that. So you can control what they can post in here. Also in the stream, you can show if you want to hide notifications, condense the notifications, show attachments. So you can control all of that in here. And even if you, as a teacher, you have the ability, of course, to delete some of the comments, and you can allow them to show or not show in here. So if I go back to my class settings and to the post, I can see that some of my students, when we started, they put stuff in here that didn't make any sense. Like one can say, hello class, that's fine. But then they put a comment like this, like, what is that? So you can just go in here basically to a comment, and once you select it, you can just remove it on the top right corner. When you see the triple dot, you can just select it. You can edit, copy. If it's one from the students, you can just basically remove it. In my class yesterday, I removed it. Yesterday, that's why it doesn't show the 3 dots. but normally it will show the options to remove. Okay, let's go back. So now I have it organized. I created my class. I added my teacher, the students. I set up the stream, what I want them to post or not. Let's go to the next one. I want to add more, look in more detail on the people and grades. So people and grades. Of course, you can add teachers, you can add students. I will show you how. But in the administration, for teachers, you can email them. You can remove a teacher. You can make the teacher the owner of the class. And for the students, you can do the email, the remove, or mute. Let me show you what I'm talking about. If I go back to my Google Classroom and I go to people, I see that I have, as a teacher, Sonia Lopez. She accepted a long time ago. If I'm no longer able to be the owner of the classroom, I can just basically click in here and make Sonia the class owner. That way she can take ownership and be now the main teacher. If Sonia is no longer be able to help me, I can just remove her. If I want to communicate within the platform, I can just click on the email and send her an email. For students, if one of my students decided, you know what, I move out to another state, I have different actions. You basically select the student, and in the actions, you can email that person, you can remove that person, or you can mute. The difference between remove and mute is that removing, of course, gets rid of that student. And in the mute, if that person is on vacation and is going to be out for maybe 3 weeks or whatever period of time, and you want to mute that person from not being able to receive the notifications or be able to communicate, you can do so. So that way, that person is not going to receive the emails and everything else. So you can mute them. Also, you can mute if that person is in timeout or is doing bad behavior, whatever. You decide. Those are the options under the administration of the people. Okay, let's go to the grading. Grading, you have different options. You have the option to do total points or weighted by category. In the total points, of course, it makes sense. If you do an essay that is 100 points, and from the 100 points, you know, that student achieved 90, and then on the test, they did 95 over 100, the total of 90 plus 95 is 185 over 200 is 92.5%. It's pretty straightforward. It's just total points. I like this system because I don't have to do any calculations, but if you decided to do weighted by category, it's basically by percentage. If I say my students, if they have from 90% to 100, it's going to be an A, 80 to 9 is going to be a B. Whatever grade system you decide, you need to do it beforehand, because that's going to help you to do the test. Of course, if I look in my grades, these are all my students. I can see, so some of them achieved, you know, 100%. They were okay. There was one person that was a little bit behind, but is still, you know, able to work. Remember that this is only for 2 months that I started to do the class online for my Explorer class. But if you click on the wheel again and you scroll down, you should be able to select the grading. So the overall grade calculation, there is a link in here that can help you to determine if you want to do the total points or you want to do the weight. Once you select it, I recommend that you don't go back because you're going to have to redo the calculations. In this case, I selected the total points and I started to give them different categories. So in my thought, in the way that we wanted to do the Explorer class, we thought, okay, well, basic classwork, an assignment is going to be 100 points. But if they decided to do an advanced assignment for the advanced class, I'm going to do also, you know, a separate counting. So I did 100 assessments, test 100. The question, we noticed that questions in the beginning, they were not able to reply back immediately, and we wanted to have, you know, communication. So we decided to give them 10 points just for a question so they can reply back faster. So we decided to do that. For the weekly devotional, we gave them 50 points. So every week we say, hey, we're going to do the weekly devotional. You return that on time, you get 50 points. If not, you don't get the many points. And also attendance, we did 50 points. So this is what it worked for me. For Pathfinders, you have to decide what it will work for you for adventures. And of course, it's going to be a little bit different, but this is just to give you an idea. Okay, So we talked about the grades, and this is just my sample. So let's talk now about classwork. Classwork, this is the main part where you see the assignments, the questions, and the material. So let's go over the assignments. In order to do an assignment, send them something for them to do, you have to go to the classwork and then click on the create and select assignment. You have to enter a title and description. Make sure that you assign it now. You can schedule for later, or you can save it. You are too busy to do it right now. You can just wait and do it later. That's fine. Let me show you how to do it in a live the live demo that we're doing. So we're going to go to my classroom. I'm going to pick up one, and I'm going to do my classwork. So my classwork, if I click on the create, I have the options that I will show you, which is assignment, the question, the material. We're going to cover the quiz in a minute, but I'm just going to click on the assignment, and I'm going to show you. So you have to provide a very descriptive title, right? In this case, I'm just going to type test. And the instructions are optional, but you can select it. You have different classes in here on the right corner. I can select if this assignment is going to be for my class only, or I can select, as I'm doing, other classes, you can select more than one. It's up to you. It just depends on what type of assignment. If it's only related to your class, you can do it right here. You can select it for all the students, or you can select it for only one student. If one of my students is getting behind and he needs to do an extra assignment, you can select that person and the assignment will be only sent to that person. You can also select the category. So if this is going to be an assignment, you know that it goes 100%, 100 points immediately. If I select a question, because I gave him 10 points, it goes right here. So it calculates immediately what type of grade category to the points. But if it's only a question and it was just basically, you know what, I'm just going to ask him something and I don't want to give him any points, you can just select unrated and it will be no grade or points awarded for that time. You can select it, hey, this is due for next week, Sunday the 5th, right? And you can even have a time in here if you want to. You can select the time. And you can send it right now, or you can schedule. Let's say the assignment, you know that they're really busy on Sunday, they're not gonna pay attention to you, but you wanted to show the assignment on their queue, on their stream the next day. I can just schedule this one for tomorrow, Monday, at maybe 5 p.m. when they're after school, so they can work with mom, dad, and you can schedule that. Oops, all right, so that's how you do it. Let me go back in here and go to the next one, which is a question. Some questions work the same way. You can set questions for yes and no answer, or you can have them to reply back with a full or a short answer question. So let me show you how to set up a question. So going in here to create, I'm going to do a question. This is going to be like, are you enjoying the class? Maybe. Question mark. You can have him to answer a short answer, or I can just have multiple choice saying yes, no, maybe. That way, when they reply back, they can select one of these, or again, either you wanted to have feedback, use the short answer. Again, you can send it for different classes, different students, all the students or only a few students. You can set the category. If it's a question, 10 points, you don't want to grade it. Again, this works the same way. You can ask it now, you can schedule, you can save it as a draft, you can even do attachments on a question. You can also, in a question, you can have people can edit their answer, so they reply back, and they might change their mind, go, so you know what, I answered something that I didn't want to answer, I'm just going to change it back. So you can have those options checking. Okay, next one. Materials. Of course, you can send the materials. Class work, rules, topic related reading. You're going to have, the parents, you're going to have maybe an event next week or a class, and you want them to read the material prior to that, you can send them the material. So if I go back to my sample, my classwork, and click on create, I can send them the material. I can add from Google Drive a link, a file, YouTube. I can even create a new one. Of course, I need to have a title. You can have the description, which is optional. You can, again, send it to all, for all the students, and you can add it for a topic. If the material that I'm going to send is for my honor or making friends section, I can just select this one right here. So that way, whenever I send communications or material, it will be showing in the right topic or category that I select. Okay. The next one. So we covered the materials, and now let's cover the assessment. Assessment is pretty cool. I like it. Google allow you to use Google Forms to create quizzes, assignments, and any type of assessment you can do it as well. Let me show you how it works live. So I click again in Classwork. I click on create, and this time is going to be a quiz. So, of course, I recommend quizzes, for maybe adventures that are, 9 years, 8 years, 7 years. If you're younger kids, maybe the parents can help them out. It's up to you. Again, you need to have a title of the test, maybe, I don't know, butterflies or shells or stars, the title of the assessment, instructions if you want to. The same options apply. You can send it for all students, different classrooms. You select the category. It's going to be an assessment. It's going to be 100 points. You want to have a due date. Hey, you need to, have your test done. I give you 2 weeks so you can study and be prepared. You want to have a topic. This is going to be for honors because it's a star honor. And in here, you can just click on the blank quiz and create one. It will open my Google Forms, and you can start, asking your questions or create your own test. The main thing on the Google Form is on the wheel, the settings. What makes it a quiz is the quiz selection. If I uncheck this one, this is just a Google Form, nothing more than that, where you're going to collect information, but it's not going to do any grading. As soon as you turn it on, what Google is going to do, let's say you have 10 questions, and each question is 1 point. You know that your total test is going to be 10 points. That way, Google is going to calculate the missed questions, the correct answers, the point value, and it's going to put it back in Google Classroom, so you don't have to manually do the calculations. It's going to do it for you once the student submits the form. Okay, so I'm going to click cancel because I don't want to use the blank quiz. I know that I have one. You can get rid of it, and I can add. So if I go to my Google Drive, I know that yesterday or the day before I created one. I'm just going to pick up this one, Christian Grooming. I'm going to select it, and this is a test link that I'm going to receive. So if I open this one, I'm going to see how my test is designed. The way that you basically design your test is that you can have, the questions. The first question is, does God know your name? Question mark. And the answers that I put in here is yes, no, yes, maybe, only the Bible knows. There is a little check mark in here for the correct answer. So the way that you do, you answer key, you click in the answer key, and you select what is the correct answer. If I decided to change the question in a different way, I can say, you know what, no, the correct answer is no. And that way you can basically change the answer. You have to give them points. You give them points by selecting the points in here. So if I want to change this one to 1 point, I can do so. And you can also provide feedback for the answer. If they select yes as the answer to the question, does God know your name? They will receive, you are correct. I can just put in here, hey, you are terrific. You're good. You know, you got it. Whatever I'm sorry, whatever you want to put in here, you can do so. And you can edit that or you can delete it if you don't want to provide feedback. The feedback for the incorrect answer is actually, you didn't select yes, you select something else. There's 3 Bible verses that says that, yeah, in fact, God knows your name. So this is how you get it. From the perspective of the student, you can basically click on the preview and you can see how they can select multiple options. They can select, you know, only one answer. So this is how you do it in here. All right, so let's go back. I don't have a lot of time to show you how to do advanced settings for your test, but you have to basically look in YouTube videos on how to do testing. But it's really good. The main thing is that once your student receives the test and they reply back to their answers, it will be calculated and added to the Google Classroom immediately for the points. Okay, so attendance. Attendance is nothing more than know if they're online doing their assignment, and you can set it up as a question. So you set it up as a question. You put the question attendance for the day. Something simple. Are you online working on your assignment? If you wanted to work, let's say from noon on Sunday to 6 p.m. on Sunday on an assessment, you can set it up. You know, you can schedule for that, and you can set the due date. And between the time of 12 to 6 p.m., you know, those 6 hours, if they are online, they should be able to see this question as a way to answer. So you can specify yes, and if they're online, they should be able to click on yes to reply, yes, I'm online, you know, doing my assessment. This is really cool to be able to do that. Let's talk about resources. Some of the resources that you can find in here that are really important, I think, is to be able to understand, you know, Google Classroom. Remember that this is just a tool for you to create, distribute, and grade assignments. It's really good to help you have control over what's going on and be able to see if they're attending, if they're reading the material, everything in there. If I go back to my Google Classroom, and I'm gonna close this one right here. I'm gonna close that one. And if I go to my grades, you can see immediately, you know, what they're doing. If they are having an attendance day, if they're doing the homework, everything in there is you know, will be able to track it in the Google Classroom. So I think the Google Classroom is really good. There are other tools by Microsoft and other ones, but I think the more popular is Google Classroom. Again, you select what to use. We are giving you this class to use Google Classroom today, but if you feel more comfortable with another one that you're using in your school district, go ahead and use it. That's fine. As long as everybody in the club or in class knows the resources and how to use it, you know, it will be good. So Google Drive. Google Drive, again, is a file storage system designed from Google. They are all other companies that also have the same online drive that you can access and documentation and everything else. And it's really important to be able to be on the same page. You're using one tool, go ahead and use that tool because it's the interface between tests, the classwork, PowerPoints, and everything else will be interacting with each other. So that way you don't have to mix different tools. You have to be really computer savvy to be able to use different tools. I mean, it's possible. I've seen people that use different tools for different things, but go ahead and stick with one. So in Google Drive, of course, you go in there, I have my Google Drive. Everything that I do in my classroom is going to be under my Drive and Classroom. And as you can see, I have my different classes that I created. It should be, if I refresh this one, it should be the one that I just created a minute ago for the sample. So this is my sample adventure class. If I click on here, I don't have no documentation because I haven't created nothing. But if I look in my Explorer class, you can see that I have different folders that I created, all the different tests that I have. Some of them are, you know, blank tests that I did for sample that I need to get rid of it. So everything in Google Drive is here. And of course, you can create new new documents, Google Docs, Sheets, the slides, or even Google Forms of the test. You can do your testings, your test before. You can even copy one that you already have and just basically copy, duplicate, and rename and change the questions. So as Google Drive is really a good tool. I don't work for Google, but I like the way how they interact with each other. If you need to record your screen, this product right here, Screencastify, is actually really good. Allow you to record not only your face, but also what you have in the computer in front of you. So Screencastify is a really good tool to be able to do casting, and it's really good. All right. Another product from Google is the Jamboard. It's a whiteboard, a white piece of screen where you can do some drawings, lettering. You can add even stickers, stuff like that. So it's another tool, for adventures. I know that they like to see things that are more visual. So Jamboard is really good. You can try that later. The link is right there. Google Meet is another video conferencing. It's part of, it's similar to Zoom, but it's part of Google. So the way that it works, in order for you to have Screencastify, is that you need to go in there, and let me show you how it works. So Google Meet, you need to have like a premium Google account. I have different email accounts. I have one that I selected or created a long time ago. I apply for Google, I apply on behalf of my church to have a premium account, and they granted that. This is free. All you have to do is send the information to Google and say, hey, my church is a nonprofit organization. I want to have a premium Google account for my church, and you can have it and set up that way. So when you do that, you have a premium email account. And in this case, because I belong to the Garland SDA, I selected the email to be sdagarland.org. And we have now the ability to do emails for the whole church. All the members can have an email free from the company, and you can do more collaboration in between the church. So one of the benefits in here is also that for the classwork, I can, if I switch to my account, you can see that I have, in a sample class that I created, I have a Meet link right here. So when you are doing your classwork, you can also set up a meeting directly to Meet. And when they receive the assignment, they receive the time that we're going to have the meeting using Meet, and it opens a video interface where you can interact with your students. You don't have to open Zoom and have separate software created. It's all built in as part of that. So again, they asked me, is it free? Yes, it's free. All you have to do is apply, show that you're a nonprofit, provide the tax exempt number for the conference, and be able to apply for that. So that's another tool that you can use, besides Zoom. Because I know that Zoom is even free for the first 40 minutes, but after that, it times out, or you have to pay a monthly subscription for that. But it works the same way. You have in Meet, you have the ability to do whiteboards and other stuff in there. Flipgrid is a good software to post videos, questions. You can use it for again, some interactions with adventures. So these are some of the resources that I wanted to share with you, guys. Of course, there are so many in there. If you Google, for something like whiteboard, you should be able to see a lot of products. I know that if I was able to visit or attend some of the classes for adventures, some of those that are kind of free on the internet, they cannot grab your cookies and information from you. So be careful in what you use. If it's a company that you don't know, I recommend that you search for that company and see if they have a good reputation of not taking information from you. I don't want to say, hey, don't use anything, but just be aware of that information. Okay. So the final thought, Send invitations with clear instructions. Make sure that you have a title, a good description, of what the adventure of the parent is going to do, so you don't have, a lot of email back and forth like, what do you want me to do with this? Okay. Show your face. Make sure that they can see you, right? That they know your expression, your face. Also set up ground rules. If you want to have a small classes, 15, 20, 30 minutes, the most for adventures. After that is too much. You do that. Also record your lessons, because you don't know if one of your adventures is not going to be able to attend. Make sure that you record that information so they can see it later. Check in with them from time to time. Make sure that they're doing okay. Make sure that they are able to follow and be able to interact with you. Provide interactive activities. Make sure that you are able to have a good interaction with them. Just have fun. From time to time, you connect, and it's not all classwork. Have fun with them. Make sure that they are able to see you as a person. I know that, keeping the distance in there doesn't have to be bad for the kids. Also, make sure that you do the assignments and breakouts for groups if you're using Zoom correctly, so you don't overwhelm the parents. I know technology for some of the parents is really bad. They don't understand it, so you need to make sure that you make it fun for them. Okay? And the last part is that my information is there. You can contact me if you have additional questions. I recommend YouTube videos if you also have questions on how to use Google Classroom. It's really fun to use. All you have to do is just get it done. Open your Classwork today. Start, sharing with maybe your mom, your dad, your spouse. Okay, I'll be the teacher, you'll be the student. Let me see how it works. Not only from the perspective of the teacher, but also see how it works from the perspective of the student, so you can answer those questions. So again, if you have any questions, we're gonna go over them right now, and that's about it from me.
So the first question is, do we have to have all the students or teachers' names in our contact to add them to the
Yes, you need to have your teacher. Yes. So the question is, do I need to have my teacher information, like email and the student's email, in order to add them? Remember that when we presented this information, if I go back to the setup, and if I go add the students in here, you need to have the email in order to add them, if you want to add them directly. So in my sample adventure class, I go to my people and I need to have their email. So if I want to add somebody else, I need to have the email in here. If I just type something, it's not going to have any results. I need to have a real person in there in order to send the invitation. So yes, you need to have that. Or remember that the second part that you can do is that when you go to your class, just provide the class code and tell them, hey, go to Google Classroom, and this is the code that you're going to use. And that way you can add the teachers and the students. For the students, they will be able to see it this way. For the teachers, you need to have that email. You cannot add it in here.
So does everyone have to have a Gmail account, or does it work with anyone?
So the question is, do you need to have a Gmail account? Yes, you need to have a Gmail account created, because this is a product from Google. Right now, you need to have a Gmail account. But again, it's free. I know that it's difficult to manage so many email accounts, but yes, you need to have a Gmail account right now.
And can you give information on how to get Google Meet for free?
On the Google Meet for free, you need to go to the Google and apply as a company. If I can find the link in a couple of minutes, I'll post it in there. But yeah, you need to basically do that in order to get Google Meet for free.
Is the whiteboard the one you can use to create a classroom of images that has a link on it?
In whiteboards, yes, you can add links, you can add images, you can add stickers, you can draw on them. It's basically a whiteboard. It's like, you think about it, you can do so many things in there. You can even import images or extract images. You can even put videos. It just depends on how complex you want to use whiteboard.
And can you give a copy of that for the presentation?
Yes, I think the handout is going to be provided by the conference, so you guys can see it in there. Also, it's going to be posted in YouTube, and so you can see it later on as well.
Would this be for our parents or our adventurers?
Again, it depends on the age. If you have the adventurers that are maybe 9 years old, 8 years old, they can do, they can do it. Some of the kids nowadays, they're really computer savvy, and they can use it as a student. But if you have younger kids that don't know how to use a computer, and then the parents can do it and help them out. Okay, we don't see any other questions in here, so I'm trying to figure out why my camera didn't work. Anyway, so that's basically it, guys. Let's try my normal camera. Didn't want to work at all. All right. Any additional questions, just let us know, and we can provide the link. I'm going to try to find the link in a couple of minutes. If you're coming back for the next class, I'll see what I can do for apply for the Google Premium accounts. Okay. Thank you. Have a good day, and continue to do what you do. You're awesome people. Thank you.